What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Another DN duel commentary. As you guys can see, my opponent's rating is 1423. This has to be, without a doubt, one of the most fun, exciting DN duels that I've ever had in my entire life. And it has comebacks, it has sacking, it has idiocy. It's just, it's entertaining, and it was very, very fun to take part of. Anyways, so let me first off explain why I do this opening move, because it is extremely risky and I would not recommend it. I've actually played this guy a couple of times in the last week, and both times he beat me, and both times he was running Infenity, and I remember his username, so I was like, okay, well, this is like a 99% chance that we're playing a mirror match. And I figured if I couldn't go off on him turn 1, then he was probably going to go off on me turn 1, and I didn't want that. So I decided to try and make a counterplay. I bet every single thing on Infenity Barrier being able to stop his play, and then if he had like a launcher, I could just MST it. So I pretty much, and I'm a ride and die with this Infenity Barrier, and hopefully it were, oh my goodness, he played Terraforming. This is not a mirror match. What the hell have I done? Now, obviously, the only good thing to come out of this so far, you know, obviously my miscalculation is going to hurt me, is the fact that he did not heavy storm me and make me waste my barrier right off the top. So he gets Dragon Ravine, and I'm like, oh great, I'm playing Dragunity. The only good thing is my MST is live against his Dragon's Ravine. As long as he doesn't discard Zephyros, I should be fine. I'm like, okay, you know, just go ahead and discard, you know, like an MST or something, and he discards the freaking Zephyros. So that's not, like, I guess it's technically a plus, but we all know Zephyros is going to come back later in the duel, so I don't really count that as a plus. Now he summons Assault Beast, and I'm like, maybe he must be playing Assault Stardust, you know, like Stardust Assault Mode Dragunity or something like that. And maybe he pitches it for Ravine if it's not working right or whatever. So he just runs over my Archfiend. Now, since we're both at 4 cards, I pretty much have to go to slow game. I think I'm playing this deck wrong or something, because every duel goes into that. Nightbeam takes out his Solemn Warning. So at least I have, you know, a rank 4 play. Unfortunately, I have 2 instant fusions, and I can't play them both in the same turn, which sucks, but whatever. I just got to make do. Now, I go ahead and I get Armageddon Knight because Greffer isn't going to do anything. I don't have any darks or whatever to pitch. I summon my Armageddon Knight, and I'm going to throw Necromancer into my graveyard. The whole reason that I put Necromancer in there is because I wanted to get my graveyard set up to where I could get the most out of Infenity Launcher. Like, I'm sick of using that card and only getting 1 Archfiend, so I decided to go ahead and load up my graveyard. I'm going to play the Instant Fusion now, and I'm going to use the one from my hand because I want him to think that my back row cards are traps, even though I didn't use them to save my Archfiend. So I still want him to think that they're traps, potentially. Anyways, I go ahead and I'm going to exceed for Lavalva Chain, because I don't really think, you know, attacking over him with like a Utopia or something, like, it doesn't really help me, because if he gets another Dragon's Ravine, I mean, that Utopia is going to die so quick to a Scrap Dragon, it's over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Archfiend on top of my deck, and I'm basically, once again, I'm going to bet everything on this Archfiend. This is the second time that I've done this, where I'm basically putting all my cards and all my money on black. I need this to work out, or clearly I'm going to lose. Now, as long as he doesn't have Terraforming, I'm pretty good. And of course, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! So of course he has Terraforming. And the crazy thing is, you know, what makes Dragunity such an explosive deck is he hasn't used Zephyros yet, which essentially means he can use Dragon's Ravine twice. So that's definitely not good. He plays Dragon Ravine, of course, and he's going to pitch his Pot of Avarice because he pretty much knows he needs to make a really big board, or needs to kill me this turn before I get my Archfiend off. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to dump Phalanx into the graveyard. Or no, excuse me. He's going to search for Phalanx, pitching the Pot of Avarice. Now he's going to activate his Zephyros, and he's going to be able to use Dragon's Ravine again. You know, clearly he knows I don't have an MST or anything like that. Otherwise, I would have already played it. And even if I did, he could still just overlay and attack over the Lavalva Chain. So he's in a very, very good situation. And now he has his Phalanx in the graveyard, and he can search for ducks. This dude has, he's about to have it all over me. And this is where shit gets real, because he already has 3 monsters on the board, and he's about to summon a whole bunch more, because we all know Dragunity is one of those decks where it can just go dirty on you, man. So he goes, and he summons the Phalanx in defense mode. I think he's going to Synchro Shogun right now for Vaja. And Vaja is going to summon the Phalanx right back. So Clearly, this guy is not limited by his plays at all. And at this point, I'm just kind of crossing my fingers and I'm hoping not to get OTK'd. I'm not even thinking about the Archfiend. You know, it's bad enough that he knows what I have on top of my deck. And my Instant Fusion probably isn't the best card because I'm going to take so much damage that it might not be live. And he has the freaking, I forget what that guy's name, Mylin or something. So he's doing all types of dirty stuff. He synchros using the Zephyros and the Phalanx that, you know, the big guy summoned back, and now he has Stardust, which was it was a smart move because, you know, I do play double Mirror Force in my deck, so, you know, he was trying to protect against that. Now, I think he, like, miscalculated or whatever because, you know, I was about to scoop, and then I realized, oh my goodness, I'm not actually dead, am I? Like, I was shocked. I was like, he didn't kill me. You know what I mean? So I end up taking 700 from the Stardust attack. I take 19 from the Assault Beast. I take 19 from Baja. And then I take 21 from the big guy. And he leaves me at 300 life points. So, you know, I'm just like, all right, well, at least I'm safe for a turn. You know what I mean? At least I get to draw my Archfiend. And I'm thinking, you know, he doesn't have any cards left. You know, this might actually work out. He goes for an Exceed play, and he's going to get Strike Bouncer. Initially, I thought I lost because I thought he was going to make Heretic King of Tomb, and he was going to get like some like random level 4 dragon from his deck and make Cowboy and just win. But he gets the next best thing. He gets Photon Strike Bouncer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where shit gets real for me with the Infinities. So I obviously special summoned my Archfiend, which you know I had. And he tries to Photon Strike Bouncer. Nah, nigga, I got that barrier. And this is where Infernity, basically, I'm about to do to him what he just did to me. Except whenever you counter a play, you're always in a better position. Like, you always want to be the second player to go off. So I get Launcher, and I get my Necromancer and my Archfiend. Again, that's the whole reason that I put that Necromancer in there. I wanted to load my graveyard up. So I go ahead and I search an Infernity Break, which I just set. You guys don't see that. But I had just played Dp-Ygo, and he was like, dude, always search Break before Barrier. And I took his advice. Actually, it was a mirror match, an Infernity mirror match, and Dp-Ygo took me to school in that match, like 10 minutes before this one. So I make Utopia, and I ram into Stardust. Now, not only does that get rid of the Stardust problem, but my Break is now live, and guess what? Like, I've got Necromancer, or I've got a Necromancer's effect that I can still use. So now I'm going to go ahead, get my Archfiend, and I'm going to get another Break. So now the tables have been completely turned. Not only do I have 5 cards to his 2, but I've got 2 Infernity Breaks, which are both chainable. So I can just blow his entire field up if I choose. And he can't use his Dragon's Ravine because he knows that I'll just chain Infernity Break. So let's see what he does. He goes into attack, and he goes into battle phase, and he just runs over my Archfiend. I guess he was thinking that I was going to use my Infernity Break, and I was like, nah, I'll just let that slide. So again, I'm at 200 life points. I just wanted to see what my next card was to see how I should approach him. I draw a Night Beam, which of course I immediately set. And now at this point, I'm just going to activate Necromancer's effect again, and now I'm going to get Archfiend's effect, and now I'm going for an Infernity Barrier. Since I've already got 2 breaks, now I need to protect from like Dark Hole or you know, Monster Born on Stardust or something like that, like something really stupid. So Infernity Barrier pretty much makes my field uncrackable. He tries to go back to the well, and he tries to run over my Archfiend, but I'm having none of that. This time I go ahead and I blow it up with the Infernity Break. He sets a back row, which I don't have to use Infernity Break on because if you remember, I drew Night Beam from the last turn. I draw a call to Haunted, which of course I'm going to immediately set, so my barrier is live. And at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to Night Beam that face down just to see what it is. And it's an MST, which was a bluff, but you know, now I'm just going to use my Necromancer. I'm going to special summon an Archfiend, and even though I have another break in my deck, you know, I feel like if I get break, then I'm prolonging this duel, so I'm just going in for damage. I get another Archfiend, and I'm going to attack with all 3 Archfiends right now. You know what I mean? I need to basically try and end this duel as quickly as possible since I have, like, the upper hand times infinite, you know. And main phase 2, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make Direwolf, which was a card that I never thought that was good until I started using this deck, and I was like, oh my god, this card is really good. So now what I can do is I can summon Direwolf, and I can use Direwolf to blow up his Dragon's Ravine, so I don't end up having to, like, you know, waste my break on that. I can use break on like one of his monsters or something like that. So that saves me from using one of my breaks. Not to mention, I can just get my Archfiends back with Necromancer turn the next turn anyway. So, you know, now I've got pretty much a really solid board, and I don't really see a way for him to get around it. He plays Dragon's Ravine, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to barrier that shit. And he ends up discarding. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use Infenity Break on his Dragon's Ravine. And since he already used Zephyros, he basically has no plays. He knows that it's GG because next turn, I'm just going to use Necromancer, get my 2 Archfiends, attack, and make Cowboy for game. So he scoops it up. So this was a wild game. And the moral of this story is, don't assume anything. Like, don't assume you're playing a deck just because somebody may have played it before. Because you could end up like me and having to make extreme risk and end up potentially losing despite the fact that I won. Thank you guys for watching as always, and have a nice day.